Hi folks, welcome to my channel or welcome back. My name is Kat. I'm a licensed registered dietitian nutritionist and online nutrition coach. I focus in on sports nutrition, gut health, and prenatal nutrition, as well as overall practices that support physical, mental, social, and emotional well-being. In today's video, we are talking again about Beachbody. They recently updated their ultimate portion fix and added a couple of things in there, including intermittent fasting. And so I had a couple of questions about this and thought it would be good to just talk about it here. So if that sounds interesting to you, let's go. As with all of my videos, everything in this video is 100% my opinion. Be sure to check with your doctor or registered dietitian before making any changes to your intake. I also wanted to give a shout out and a thanks to one of my subscribers, Lexi. She is currently studying, wanting to become a registered dietitian, and she actually shared this information with me that this was even going on, that Beachbody was adding intermittent fasting. And so I just wanted to say thank you, Lexi. I appreciate you so much. This is something that we need to talk about, so I appreciate you sharing this information with me. We are starting with a Q&A that Autumn Calabrese did. It's featured on her Instagram, and so I just wanted to go through that because she really explains what the updates are within the ultimate portion fix, and so I thought it'd just be best to get it straight from her, and I'll also share some stories that she shared as well. And if you're not aware, Autumn Calabrese is one of the super trainers with Beachbody, and she has created a lot of different programs, including the 21-day fix, which if you have not checked out my video review on that, definitely check that out. So this is not a distributor or anything. This is somebody who works at Beachbody. Let's go ahead and start watching.
Happy Team AC launch day. You got two things launching today. On Wallace Caesars launching 6:45. It's launching to the coaches first, so VIP early access right now. And then also the new streamlined version of Portion Fix is launching today. So if you already have access to Portion Fix, you already have access to the new streamlined version of Portion Fix. Make sure you guys check that out. You're going to see just how easy it is to maneuver through the videos, how streamlined it is, how the information is all right there. The new intermittent fasting path is there. The new formula for muscle building is in there. Also, if you are brand new to Beachbody and you get a 645 challenge pack, you're going to have access to Nutrition Plus for the first month free, which will give you access to the new streamlined version of Portion Fix. Now, why is that important? Because fitness plus nutrition is the scientifically proven best way to see results the fastest, right? So yes, you're going to be in there working your butt off with 645 for the next 13 weeks. If you're going to put the work in there, you might as well be putting the work in here so you get the best results. And even if you guys aren't doing 645, obviously still check out the new streamlined version of Portion Fix. You might be doing 9-week Control Freak, 9-week Control Freak off the wall. Maybe you're doing Let's Get Up, 10 rounds, whatever it is. You always want to combine it with proper nutrition so that you can maximize your results. So those are both launching today. Make sure you check out Portion Fix. Like I said, I am starting a new Portion Fix bod group to coach people through it, and I will be posting those details in just a little bit. I'm gonna go finish making my breakfast and I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, wait, two more things. One, I just impressed myself because if you noticed, I was talking in the video and I was cutting my asparagus. I wasn't counting them. I just sort of pulled out what looked like to be the right amount. And 8 to 10 asparagus spears is equal to 1 green. So when I finished talking to you all, I counted how many I had pulled out. 10, right on the money, because I can eyeball that stuff because I've been doing it for so long. You guys check yourself every once in a while and see if what you're measuring is really equal to the proper portion size.
Okay, so from that, we just got that the new intermittent fasting portion of Ultimate Portion Fix is included in the updated Ultimate Portion Fix area. And also, side note, you don't have to worry about getting in 8 to 10 asparagus stalks or spears. If you want more, that's okay. If it goes above 1 green container, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Just grab some asparagus. You're good. You can eat 15 and go over the amounts in a green container. that is okay. We are not wanting to limit any kind of vegetable, especially a green one. Okay, so she also did a Q&A on her Instagram, and so I thought that we could just go ahead and do a reaction from there so that we can see more of what the actual program is from her words, or the program updates.
With that, I will turn it over to Autumn. I'll let you introduce yourself to anybody who's brand new. I know some of us have been around, in the Portion Fix or the Beachbody community for a long time. Some of you might be new. So we'll let Autumn introduce herself, and then we'll jump into questions. So if you guys have questions, how it'll work is you're just going to post your question in the comment section of the little live that we're doing right here, and then I'm going to go through the questions and pose them to Autumn, and Autumn will answer. We can't take any medical questions, so save those for your physician, please. Anything related to Portion Fix, the new Portion Fix specifically, is what we will be answering today.
Yes, what's up, you guys? So I'm Autumn Calabrese. I have been a super trainer with Beachbody for almost 8 years now. Oh my gosh, time flies when you're having fun. I have 11 different workout programs with Beachbody. If you haven't checked those out, do so. It all started with 21 Day Fix and the container system that went with it. The little color-coded container systems are now what we call Portion Fix. The new streamlined version of Portion Fix just launched today. We do have the new intermittent fasting path in there. We do have the new muscle building formula in there. Like I said, everything is really streamlined. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. I've spent my whole life focusing on nutrition. Unlike Natalie, I am not a registered dietitian. I am just somebody who loves it, is passionate about it, has studied it in every form possible other than the college classroom.
So just because you're passionate about something and you love it and you forego that formal education, are you qualified to make a program when it comes to other people's health? Non-RDs can make programs, of course, but there's a difference, in my opinion, between let's help you eat more veggies and more nutrient-rich snacks, etc., versus eat X amount of blue containers per day. Just wanted to make that clear. I've heard the argument that not everybody is privileged enough to get that kind of schooling. But at the same time, you don't necessarily hear those arguments for other professions. Like, we can't have this kind of passion for mental health and start acting as if you were like a therapist, or if you are passionate about social work. You can't just kind of learn things and then call yourself a social worker. There are reasons why there are those kind of requirements in place. And I am not saying that you have to become an RD to help people with their nutrition. That is not the case at all. Nutrition coaches are a group of people that I love working with. What I am saying, though, is that it is kind of sketchy, in my opinion, that she has become this kind of like poster child for nutrition within Beachbody when they have other dietitians, like even the person interviewing her, even Alana, which we have talked about the 2B mindset and some of the concerns that I have around that, but just how much Autumn is kind of the main nutrition person is just a little bit sketchy, and someone can say that I am just being a hater or anything like that. No, when it comes to other people's health and creating programs, and when I'm talking about health, we're not just talking about that physical piece. As nutrition professionals, we also are trained, and we need to think about how it's going to impact other aspects of their life, not just the physical side too. But we don't want to make a plan that's like perfect on the physical but have potentially harmful like mental health side effects. And while we can't and don't treat mental health conditions, still we don't want to encourage those from getting triggered or getting started, like having something like orthorexia, which is very common within the dieting industry. And so that is my concern. I hope that is very clear. She's not just doing nutrition coaching or anything. She's actually making these programs.
It has helped hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people lose weight in a healthy way, lose weight in a way that's not a diet, but that's a lifestyle. Keep it off without feeling deprived or restricted. And so that's what we're going to talk about.
Her 21-day portion fix is still a diet. As much as she wants to say that it is not, it's still a diet. By its nature, you're basing intake off predetermined portions. And those predetermined portions are specific foods regardless of hunger and fullness. You're not teaching them anything beyond how many yellow containers that they need to eat for the day. That is still a diet. And when she says where we can have something like Portion Fix, it's not a diet where you don't have that deprivation or feel that restriction, yet at that same time, they only have so much amount of, like, for example, when I was going through it in my video, it showed exactly how many portions of these like little chocolate chips that they can have per day without going over, without messing up intake for the day. I don't know how else it can be more of a diet, which if you want to create a diet, I can't stop you. You can do whatever you want. It's not something that I would really be excited about or encouraged about, but go ahead, make a diet. But if you are going to make one, at least call it for what it is. This is the kind of wellness culture that is actually diet culture with like a sheet on it. For me and for a lot of other people who are in this field and who have done a lot of work on their own with their relationship with food, they're able to kind of see something like this and be like, yeah, that kind of wellness culture is really just diet culture. But there are a lot of people who are kind of opening their eyes to how harmful that diet culture can be and wanting to go in a less kind of diet culture way, and they can hear something like this and be like, oh, she says it's not a diet, so it must not be a diet, which it's not their fault for thinking that, because they're putting Autumn out there again as this kind of like poster child for nutrition within Beachbody. And so of course people who are just trying to figure it out, they're going to believe her. And it is really harmful when you have people like this who are still utilizing diet culture but saying that it's not. It's so much worse. I would be so much more happy if she were to flat out say it's a diet. Like, call it for what it is, Autumn.
Yes, awesome. Thank you, Autumn. So yeah, we're here to get you guys fast, sustainable results, right? In a healthy way. So, all right, so we'll jump into questions.
And I don't see how it can be sustainable when we have so many examples of people who have stopped utilizing the container program and had their bodies change because of that. And people who have seen that sustainable side, they're still following that kind of container system. And so again, we have to go back to what is the definition of sustainable? Like, is sustainable meaning that you have to stay on that diet for the rest of your life? Because to me, that doesn't really sound sustainable. What is sustainable is doing actions and practices that you can do for long term, for the rest of your life. If you can see yourself doing that program forever, then that is sustainable. If not, and once you stop following the rules and the portions and you kind of go back to where you were, that's not sustainable to me. Which again, that's okay, but call it for what it is. And as far as it being healthy, what is the definition of health? Going back, I have that definition always in the back of my videos, which is that physical, mental, social, and emotional well-being. We cannot just look at health as physical because, one, the World Health Organization doesn't define it that way. Two, it just doesn't mean anything if we are doing something that's physically healthy, but it's harming other aspects of health. It's not going to fit in that sustainable piece because we can only work on physical health for so long at the detriment of all the other aspects of health. Okay, I'm going to skip a couple of these questions here and there because some of them, they're related to Beachbody, but not really related to what we're talking about.
Gil asked, how is the new Portion Fix more streamlined? What does this mean?
So when we filmed Portion Fix 3 years ago, if you guys had access to it, if you looked at those videos, there was actually 36 videos to cover the entire program. Now, people were getting really overwhelmed by it. You didn't necessarily have to watch every single video to understand the program, but people would click on it. They would see that there was 36 videos and they were like, oh my gosh, this is so much time. It's like 3 hours of information and it felt very overwhelming. And that's the exact opposite of what Portion Fix is. The beauty of Portion Fix is the simplicity of it. And when we launched that 8 years ago or 7 years ago with 21 Day Fix, it was like, here's your containers, here's what goes in them, and here's the formula to figure out how many containers you get a day. And that was it. And that was one of the things incredibly easy about it and so incredibly easy to stay on it. So as we started to get that feedback, I said, okay, with the team, like, hey, let's streamline this, make sure everybody has the information that they have. Let me reorganize it and make it so that it's much more compact, but without taking anything away from it. So the new portion fix has 3 rails. Each rail only has 6 videos, and I think we kept all of the videos under 10 minutes, okay? So rail 1 is everything you need to know to get started quick with portion fix. It's also what we refer to as foundational fix. So it's the foundation of the program, and it's gonna be just that. It's gonna be, here's the basic principles of the program, here's how you calculate your formula, here's what these color-coded containers are, here's what goes in them, and then basically like ready, set, go. Okay, and then I also do teach you how to take your before photos and measurements. That's rail 1. So anybody brand new coming into the program, that's where they should start. Those 6 videos will get you on your way to doing the program. Rail 2 is what we call custom fix. And rail 2, there's 6 videos in there, but you don't necessarily watch all 6 of those videos. That's where you're gonna find time nutrition, you're gonna find carb cycling, intermittent fasting, how to follow it if you're vegan or vegetarian, how to follow it if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, and how your kids can follow the program to learn to eat healthy. It's not a diet for kids, but there is a video on how kids can follow it to learn to eat healthy. So you would only watch the video that applies to you. If you're interested in the new intermittent fasting path, watch that video. It's about 6.5, 7 minutes long. If you're interested in time nutrition, training like an athlete, fueling your body like an athlete, great, watch that one video. So you don't have to watch all the videos in rail 2. And then rail 3 basically answers all of your questions. So let's say you get stuck, you hit a plateau. You want to know, how do I follow this if I'm going out to dinner or going out to lunch with friends? Or what do I do? It's a holiday, right? We just had the 4th of July. Like, how do I survive the barbecue and stay on plan without feeling like I'm being deprived while everybody else has fun? Your most frequently asked questions are there. The break in case of emergency video is there in case you hit a plateau. So again, you don't have to watch all 6 of the videos in rail 3. You go to the video that applies to you for wherever you're at or wherever you're stuck in your journey. So that's how we streamlined it, compressed it, and made it feel much more bite-sized, because that really is what it is and how it's designed to be.
Basically, just a quick recap, there are 3 rails. First one is about getting started, foundations, how to do before and after pics. The second one is about the custom fix, where they talk about the intermittent fasting portion, and also they talk about carb cycling, I believe she said, and then how to approach this for children as well, which I don't like the idea of Beachbody for children for many different reasons. We do not need to put children on this kind of program like the 21-day fix. Again, she says it's not a diet, but considering that she doesn't think portion fix is a diet to begin with, I have a really hard time believing her with that. And I'll put up a couple of pictures of what the kids fix looks like. You can see that it breaks it up still again into those calories and then into those containers for how many containers those kids should have. And so again, if you're following intake based on containers, you're putting them on a diet.
Madeline asks, will there be any meal plans above F, like G and H?
No, we have not done anything like that yet. In fact, what you'll see actually in the new portion fix path is that we actually took it back down to A through D, but E and F are there. They're not gone. They're just there, but it's more about, you know, so very rarely do people fall in E and F, and we sort of have given new guidelines for E and F about if you're an athlete, if you're a bigger guy, if you're really looking to put on muscle, here's E and F. But we really took it back down to what it used to be for 21-day fix. With 21-day fix, there was only ever plans A through D. So if you fell above D, you still rounded down to D, and that was still more than enough food.
So if you needed more food than what was on the D program, you just rounded down to D. Doesn't matter. If you need more food, oh well, just do D.
So as of right now, no. I'm not saying never, never say never, because there might come a time where we start having more and more guys and bigger guys, because I have a funny story. There's one guy, his name's Danny. He's actually a good friend of mine, him and his wife. And he was in my 80-day obsession test group. And Danny actually is a retired professional athlete. He used to play baseball. So he's doing portion fix. He's eating at the top plan. And he was messaging me constantly like, I'm so hungry. I was like, okay, eat another red, eat another green. But Danny failed to mention that when he was an athlete in training, he ate 6,000 calories a day.
This person failed to mention that. That is not the person's fault of doing that. That is, as a nutrition professional, when you're working with people one-on-one, you are trained in how to do proper assessments. And it was not him failing to mention that, I'm sure. I don't know, unless she did do a proper assessment and asked the question and he just completely didn't answer it or completely forgot or something. But I'm assuming that she did not do that individual assessment because she just had him on this kind of program. And that is just one example of why we can't really always rely on these kind of programs. When you have such a wide variety of people, you miss that kind of personalization that really makes a difference in what is the appropriate amount for that person. And again, if somebody wants to do that on their own, you know, they want to seek it out and start that, whatever. But if you have a company that is encouraging people to do it for themselves and then to reach out and have other people do it and have them become coaches and have them reach out to other people to do it when they're not health and wellness professionals in any sense, that gets a little bit sketchy in my opinion.
21 asks, is there any container equivalent for Blue's orange teaspoons? Say you have avocado, but you also want some hummus and your orange and some teaspoons is left. Is there a swap? I think she's saying, can you like swap your blue for your orange?
I have an answer to this, but the answer is technically in the Portion Fix Master Series because it's not a short answer and it's not one I'm going to give on social media to the general population. So I'm not saying that to be mean or anything. It takes a good 5 or 6 minutes for me to explain it. There is an answer to that. It is in the Portion Fix Master Series. If you are interested in learning it there, you absolutely can. Like I said, I'm not trying to deprive people of the answer, but I also have to be careful how much information of swapping and things like that I give just out to the masses on Instagram, because people will take it and run with it. I've seen it happen one too many times.
We are running with this. If you have to explain how to swap a container out with another container, how can you say that that is not a diet program? If you are concerned about how to swap out different containers, you are on a diet. Don't be shy, Autumn. Call it for what it is. I'd have much more respect if you would just call it a diet. I'm sorry if I seem a little bit too sassy in this video. It is just seeing Autumn Calabrese and just Beachbody in general constantly post about their nutrition programs and how it's a lifestyle and that it's not a diet, when I have seen the impacts that dieting culture has on people. Not just that, but how the impacts of wellness culture being undercover diet culture, but how wellness culture can really harm people again and again, over and over. Seeing that so many times from this specific company and these people, it just gets really frustrating. You're seeing me with many years of concern about Beachbody and how they approach nutrition and how they say that it's not a diet, that it's a lifestyle, when it is a diet. I don't know how many times that I've said that in this video already. You're probably tired of it.
Half of the blue of avocado and half of a blue of hummus. So maybe I'm going to have the hummus. Or like I said, watch the Master Series because it's in there. The answer is in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So if you guys want a deeper answer, check out the Master Series.
Okay, so we're done with that video of her kind of describing what the updates are to the Ultimate Portion Fix. And I wanted to give a little bit of information specifically on intermittent fasting itself. So fasting in general can be defined as not consuming food or anything with calories for 8 hours. It can go on for well beyond that time. That is one of the reasons why the name of breakfast is breakfast. You're breaking your fast from overnight. Intermittent fasting offers many benefits, but not everybody will benefit the same or even receive benefits. And we'll talk about which groups of people should really not focus on intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting was something that it's been around for a very long time. I remember in one of my first uni classes, in nutrition classes, we were talking about that, and that was like a decade ago. We were talking about some of the benefits, some of the negatives, and it's just over the years, especially I would say like the last 3 to 5 years, it's like increased even more in popularity. So some of the benefits that we have seen in some human studies, but mostly rat studies, have been a decrease in our inflammation lab, so CRP or C-reactive protein. We also see some increase in our insulin sensitivity in a lot of these kind of studies. We also can see a decrease in our A1C, which is a 3-look window at how your blood sugar levels have been, some increased insulin sensitivity. So another way of saying better or improved glucose control. We see healthy programmed cell death, they turnover, and just kind of promoting that healthy reaction, that natural reaction. We see that it may help our gut microflora. The idea surrounding that is that they have circadian rhythms, and so by offering that little break or larger break, that can kind of help them and their health. We can see some evidence of helping with appetite regulation with our ghrelin and our leptin hormones, which are hunger and fullness hormones. There are a couple other ones as well. And those seem to be the major benefits. Something else that is kind of interesting is that we mostly see these benefits more so in men than women. We can see that fasting in certain cases can negatively impact hormones and overall metabolism in women. I am not sure if this is also the case for anyone who was assigned female at birth or assigned male at birth, and then depending on if they're taking any kind of hormone therapies. I don't think that has even been studied, but in the literature you're just going to see like men or women or male or female. We have so much more to go in nutrition science. One of the big things that we tend to see with fasting is that if you have a lot of room to make some healthy changes in your intake, a lot of times people will feel better, but we tend to see less of an improvement if they're already really healthy, if they're doing healthy actions consistently. And so just like with every diet, if you start a diet or change in the way you're eating or moving, you're probably going to feel pretty good. But is it the diet that's making you feel so good, or is it the fact that you have made some pretty foundational changes, at least in the short term, like overall reducing the amount of highly processed, hyperpalatable foods, being more aligned with your hunger and fullness cues, drinking more water, getting more sleep, getting more movement, overall those kind of things. Sometimes people can start doing those things and they attribute it to the diet when it's not really the diet doing that. It's just like any program could do that. So going back to men versus women, we see that women tend to see more of the benefits when it's around 8 to 12 hours. They don't necessarily need to go longer than that. And once they do go longer than that, then we start to have some more of those concerns. We start to see more stress actually happen on the body, which is the opposite of what we really want to do. Benefits can be seen without a calorie restriction, but again, going back to what happens in the real world, a lot of times people will start fasting and they will unintentionally or intentionally reduce the amount of calories that they're consuming. That's another way that they can start to feel different when it really wasn't the plan itself. It was just that you're changing the amount that you're consuming overall, and so you're seeing different kind of progress down the line. So just keep that in mind as well. So most of the research from what I have found in intermittent fasting and just over the years have been done on animals, and while animal data can be very helpful, can be very intriguing, it doesn't exactly tell us everything that'll happen within humans, and again doesn't tell us the difference between men and women, whether assigned female at birth or assigned male at birth, all of those different variables. That's something that we still don't know a whole lot of. And even within those different areas, not everybody is going to act the same. Not everybody's body is going to react the same. So when anybody asks me if I recommend them starting a specific kind of diet or program, I like to go back to what the foundations are and asking them, how are they doing currently with their hunger and fullness cues? How are they doing approaching foods now with that curiosity, compassion, and context? Are they having that food neutrality piece? Are they consuming mostly minimally processed, nutrient-dense foods most of the time? Are they balancing their meals out where they're eating a good amount of protein, fats, and carbohydrates in their meals? Are they getting in lots of fiber-filled carbohydrates and vegetables? If possible, I try to focus in on those different areas. That can take some time, but that is going to be a lot more sustainable and not have them like jump into a kind of dieting program. So intermittent fasting may be helpful in some people like with insulin sensitivity issues, like with type 2 diabetes. However, that is something that you really want to talk to your doctor or certified diabetes educator about, because that can really make an impact on what medications that you're taking. And depending on what kind of fast you start, you can really get into a not so safe place with your medications or without medications as well if you have diabetes. So that is definitely something that you want to check with your healthcare provider about. Some people will recommend it for something like PCOS. You have to be careful as well. People with PCOS are people with a uterus, and we know that with the literature, intermittent fasting can sometimes increase the stress levels in your body, and that is not something that we want to do when you have PCOS. So that is also something that you need to take very individually. And remember, there are so many ways that we can improve blood glucose levels that don't require fasting at all. When you're looking at who this is not recommended for, it is not recommended for anybody with a history of disordered eating or eating disorders, not recommended for people who are pregnant or breastfeeding, or even those trying to get pregnant, as it can put more stress on the body. Again, it depends on the person. Individuals who are already in extreme stress, and people with different types of diabetes, unless they are being actively monitored by their doctor. So with that all being said, in my opinion, I feel like Beachbody is just kind of jumping on the bandwagon by including intermittent fasting into their programs. And again, in my opinion, furthering this kind of diet culture with these updates. Some people will say that they have never felt better when they have done a Beachbody nutrition program. And I always like to ask, is there a way that we can feel great in a similar way without doing that kind of restrictive plan and with having a more sustainable plan? All right, folks, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and like this video. Make sure you're subscribed only if you want to. I am planning on making more reaction style videos. I was talking to a friend telling her about how much I love doing the deep dives, but how much time it takes. And I have a lot of just work stuff on my plate. And so doing those reaction type videos would be really fun to do while I get all of my stuff together for those deep dives. So if there is anything that you would like me to react to, then please go ahead and send it to the email on the screen, callingoutbodyshame@gmail.com. Or if you have any stories with any of these kind of programs, companies that I have spoken about or that fall into the realm, if you want to go ahead and share those, I would love to read them out or do a reaction style video if that makes more sense. And let me know if you would like to remain anonymous or not. That's it. I hope you have a great day or evening wherever you are. And remember, you can focus on your health without subscribing to diet culture. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.